So we already talked about how it's a response. You are in a big conversation. That's what all of humanity is. It's been a long going conversation. Academic writing is all a conversation. It's you talking about something in a context where you are adding to the conversation in a way where it's useful to the progression of human knowledge. The cool thing is, everything you do is a response. Even you eating is a response of you being hungry. I've probably covered this quite a few times, but it's important for you guys to understand this because this is the mystery of writing. You're always responding to something. And so that means you have 3 ways to respond. 3 ways. That's not just common ways. It's the only ways to respond. You are either going to agree, or you're going to disagree, or you're going to do both at the same time. So if you agree, you're going to agree with a difference. You're not just going to say yes or I agree or whatever you put in a chat or something like that. This isn't just a chat, right? If you're going to add something, you have to add something different. You don't just repeat what someone else has said. So if you agree with a difference. This is key here. By the way, this is in your notes right now. This is something you should be writing down for sure. So the thing you're reading tonight for the reading response that's due on Thursday is an article from 2007 originally. And the thing is, there's been more information that's come out since then. So one way of agreeing with a difference is adding more information to something that was a good argument. Like you agree with what was said here, but there's so much more information that's come out since then. Now you are building on what that other person has already put forward, already proven. You're bringing more information, or you're taking it to a different angle or a different application. One aspect could be, like you're talking about sociological issues. Someone brings it up for what happens in schools, but you could be talking about, well, this actually could apply to playing online video games. And so the same thing that they're talking about in something else that goes in one other direction, you could be talking about bringing it over here. You're still in agreement with them, but you're like, this also applies to this other thing. You see how agreeing with a difference? Okay. Disagreeing. That's number 2. If you disagree, this is the easiest thing to do. This is why I asked you guys to do this before. It just means you have to explain why you disagree, which is how is whatever that thing is saying wrong. So you would provide evidence for why that thing is wrong. Whenever you test something for if it is true or not, you internally test it. Does it contradict itself? And then you test outwardly in context. Does it contradict anything else that we know to be true? I have definitely said that one before, but understand if something fails one of those tests, then you know that like now you have something to work with on why you can disagree with it, why it's wrong. Now, it also depends on if we're arguing fact, value, or policy here. We're talking about fact, so this evolves or modifies depending on what arguments you're trying to make, or what arguments that source is trying to make. So both is the tricky one. Well, it's not even tricky. It's actually the one that you'll probably find yourself doing more than not. Because what you'll realize is almost everything that's saying it is true is flawed in a way. And then almost everything that is definitely false is also true in a way. I'm not saying truth is subjective here. I'm saying that humans are flawed. And so the things that we think up, typically, no matter how true they may seem, can be flawed because we don't have all knowledge that there is. Like there's all human knowledge and we don't even have that, each individual. But then on top of that, human knowledge is really not that much. Like we don't know hardly anything about how anything works. All that to say, if you're really thinking about it, you shouldn't completely agree with anything. And then likewise, if something you know, like let's say right here, what did I ask you guys to do? Like this could be a belief, a misconception, a conspiracy theory. The reason why those things get sold, the reason why people buy into them is because there is some amount of truth to all of them, almost. You can think of some examples probably off the top of your head. There's some form of truth there. And so then it gets manipulated. So understand that means that you'll probably, in a lot of cases, agree and disagree at the same time, meaning I agree with this one aspect over here, but I disagree with this part where they went with it, or the actual application of the thing. It works in theory, but it doesn't practically pan out right. Like you can do math and make it look like the earth is flat, but it's not. By the way, you can't do flat earth on this one. Has anyone ever looked at astrology? People say crap like Mercury is in retrograde or something like that.
Yes.
Yes, you've heard this. Do you guys know what retrograde motion is?
Isn't like backwards?
Yes, somewhat. All right, so we used to be able to tell where all the planets that we could observe, because we didn't have like good telescopes yet, but we could tell where they were in the sky at all times using math. Sorry, let me go back for a second. We could tell where they were even before we knew that the sun was in the center of the solar system. Even when we thought that the Earth was, we still had math. We still formulated calculations so that we could tell where all the planets were, and we were accurate with it. Do you know what that math made the planets do in the way that they revolved around us? So here's the Earth right here. The planets would have to go like this, like a corkscrew around us. So this is called retrograde motion in the sense that it's going forward and now it's going backwards. Forward, backwards, forward, backwards. That's impossible. That's impossible. That's not how things work. But we had to make things work that way to be able to figure out where the planets were and for it to work within our idea that the Earth was at the center of the solar system and that everything went around it. And it worked. The math worked. Now we know that that's completely flawed. Yes, we all know. We all know the sun is the center. It's a heliocentric system. Sun is at the center, and it's actually dragging the planets. There's some, not footage, because we can't get footage of that, but some really cool graphics that people have made where it shows that the planets are actually being dragged and the sun is going around the Milky Way galaxy. The sun is flying like crazy fast, and then we're being dragged by it. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, all that to say, wait, crap. I had a point for that, didn't I?
You were talking about psychics, I think, in astrology.
Yeah, but how did I get there before?
You're talking
that?
about conspiracy theories. We went from flat Earth to that.
Right.
So some conspiracy theories have some truth to it.
There we go. Okay, we did get back there. So both, it's you agree with one aspect, but not the other. There could be some aspect to a conspiracy theory that you totally agree with, that you're like, yeah, this part of it's true, but this is where it gets flawed. And that's how you get a more complex argument.